If you're watching this on our YouTube channel, which in all likelihood you probably are, then you're probably going to be quite interested in this. You see, our viewing figures suggest that you lot love a fast Merc, and this is one of the fastest. It's the Mercedes-AMG C63, and like the rest of the C-Class range, it has just undergone a midlife facelift. Not that it's all that obvious, mind you. If you look super hard, then you may spot a new grille, some new wheels, a new rear diffuser, and a few more sparkly bits, but to be honest, you'd be forgiven for not spotting any of it. What else has changed? Well, plenty, but the big news is the new 9-speed automatic gearbox that replaces the old 7-speeder, which Mercedes says gives faster shifts as well as more gears. The limited slip differential on the rear end is now electronically controlled to give better traction management, and there's all sorts of other clever gadgetry to make the C63 even more of a dynamic weapon than it was before. It's available in all 4 C-Class body styles: saloon, estate, coupe and convertible, and we've come here to the Bilsterberg race circuit in Bad Dreiberg, Germany to try out this coupe version. Like in any C-Class, you've got high quality materials, lots of space for 4 adults, a decent boot, and an infotainment system that's reasonably easy to get to grips with. You've also got 1 or 2 ergonomic quirks, but hey, it wouldn't be a C-Class without them. You will notice 1 or 2 differences with the C63 though. This bespoke steering wheel has a couple of extra buttons and dials for selecting various driving functions, and the digital display shows you which of those functions are engaged at any one time, as well as showing you all the usual driving information. Obviously, the way that the C63 drives is by far and away the most important thing, and like any AMG car, the experience is dominated and defined by the engine. And like many other AMG offerings, the engine in question is a twin turbocharged 4-litre V8. In the C63 S that we've got here, it develops a spanking 510 horsepower, and that compares to the standard C63's paltry 476. Stat fans will want to know that it does 0 to 62 in 3.9 seconds, and V8 fans will want to know that it makes a very naughty noise. Behold. And the performance? Well, predictably bonkers would be the answer. Those figures are enormously impressive, and believe you me, it feels good for every single digit, because the sensation of speed and acceleration you get from this car are nothing short of brutal, and that's regardless of which driving mode you select. And let's dwell on those driving modes for a second. Scroll through them and you get ever more aggressive settings for the steering, the throttle, the gear shift patterns, the exhaust, and the adaptive suspension. But there are 6 of them, including one that lets you tailor each individual parameter to your own personal taste. And by anyone's standards, that's a lot of modes. On top of all that, you've got a 9-stage traction control system that allows varying degrees of slip on the back end, and what's more, the torque vectoring system that distributes drive across the rear axle also has 4 modes. Now all that sounds a bit bamboozling, but in reality it actually isn't. You just use the main modes to give the car the essential character that you want it to have at any given time. And the modes make appropriate changes to the traction control and torque vectoring anyway, so you don't have to. However, if you do want to fiddle around, it's not that much of a faff. And to be fair, the car's so clever that whatever you do, however you set it up, you're made to feel like an absolute hero. The important thing you really need to know though is that the C63 has some serious dynamic polish, and it can run the full gamut of abilities, from civilized and surprisingly comfortable, through agile, alert and edgy, right down to full-on, foamy-mouthed, tail-sliding lunatic. Now obviously the C63 has the likes of the Audi RS5 and the BMW M4 to fight with for class honours, but the margins are fine unless you've got all three side by side on the same road in the same conditions, then it is impossible to tell you which one is best. Hopefully someday. However, what we can tell you is that if the Mercedes is the one that tickles your fancy out of the three, then it's now a better, more rounded, more polished car than it's ever been before. Prices haven't yet been announced, so let's hope that when they are, they're not too daft.